Loaded show ahead here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today. Mike Macdonald has named his starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks in 2024. We'll show you what he had to say and react to it coming up in just a matter of moments. Also, the Seahawks have visited with JJ McCarthy. We'll dive into that situation and provide some analysis on the possibility of drafting the Michigan quarterback in just a bit. Welcome in. Tyler Jones here. Thanks for stopping by. Before we dive any further into today's show, Chase Sr. and the 49ers report, they got over 1,000 likes on a video last week. And Chase said to me, Tyler, there's no way in hell that you guys could do that on Seattle Seahawks Today. And I said, Chase, you are absolutely wrong. We've done it before, and we'll do it again. So stick it to Chase Sr. and the 49ers report. Like the video. Let's prove those guys wrong and show why we're the best fans in the NFC West and, for that matter, the rest of the National Football League. And we'll get started with today's show. Geno Smith has officially been named the Seattle Seahawks starting quarterback for 2024. It'll be a new system in place, a new coaching staff, but that doesn't change the job ahead for Geno Smith. And this is despite the fact that the Seahawks traded for Sam Howell a couple of weeks ago. And what was interesting about this wasn't just the fact that Macdonald named Geno Smith the starter. We heard that from John Schneider within the last week or so. But it was also the fact that Mike Macdonald actually heaped some high praise for his quarterback, which was for really the first time. He had been kind of quiet and kind of coy when he had been asked previously about Geno Smith. Here's what he had to say. I've talked to Geno about it. Very confident in Geno. Geno's going to be our starter. Sam Howell knows he's going to be our backup, but Sam is a great young player, and he's got a really bright future that we believe in. This is the right move. There isn't any reason right now to take the job away from Geno Smith. This is still Geno's team. And I got to give credit to Mike Macdonald. He needed to show that confidence, that public voice of support for his quarterback to let Geno know, this team know, and quite frankly, the fan base know that this is his guy, that he believes in Geno Smith and that he's the right man for the job. You look at Geno's resume over the last two seasons. He's been to the playoffs. He's got a winning record. He's set a few franchise records already in his time as the Seahawks starting quarterback. And quite frankly, he doesn't cost you a ton either, relatively speaking, to the rest of the quarterback market for players of his talent level, coming off back-to-back Pro Bowl seasons as well. And then if you want to compare him to Sam Howell, as I know a lot of you like to do after what both of them did in the 2023 campaigns, Geno Smith's the better quarterback than Sam Howell. Right now, anyway. Maybe that changes down the road, but at this very moment, Geno is the better quarterback. You compare them side by side. Granted, Howell was in a bad situation with the Washington Commanders. Give him the benefit of the doubt of that. Awful offensive line there and a lot of question marks and just an unstable organization in Washington, right? Geno beat him in completion percentage. He had a better touchdown to interception ratio. 20 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Howell led the league in interceptions, led the league in sacks. QBR advantaged Geno Smith as well. This is Geno Smith's team. And the perfect quarterback plan, as we've laid out previously on this show before, it does not change because Sam Howell is here now. Geno is the starter this upcoming season, whether it's this draft or next year's draft. And I think based on the way the draft situation is playing out, probably more so next year, the Seahawks find their quarterback of the future. Sam Howell is not the quarterback of the future. He's your backup. That's his role. When you're going forward with this Seahawks team, the next guy, the future franchise quarterback, is going to be a young prospect within the draft. It's not going to be Sam Howell. And then from there, the future starting quarterback sits behind Geno Smith and learns from him for a year or two. We've seen that's the best recipe for success over and over again, whether it was Patrick Mahomes behind Alex Smith, whether it was Aaron Rodgers behind Brett Favre, Brock Purdy behind Jimmy Garoppolo, Lamar Jackson behind Joe Flacco. The list goes on and on. That's the best plan of action. So You've heard it. Geno is the guy. But if it were up to you, would Geno be the guy or would you be Team Sam Howell? Type G for Geno Smith, S for Sam Howell, and let us know what you think on our pinned comment today. Today's show is sponsored by our friends at PrizePicks. I got to tell you, I love playing some PrizePicks, and you're going to love it too when you play along with us at PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Promo code CLNS for a $100 deposit match. Choose 2 or more players in any given category. Get the choice of more or less. Maybe it's home runs in baseball, rebounds in basketball, goals in hockey. The baseball season just around the corner. Got the Rodriguez special. Our guy, Julio Rodriguez of your Seattle Mariners, I got him hitting more than 168.5 hits this season. I got Grayson Rodriguez from the Baltimore Orioles. They have more than 180.5 strikeouts this season. If both these hit and we put $20 down, we are making, folks, $60 on PrizePicks. Join us at PrizePicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS for that $100 deposit match. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. All right, let's talk quarterbacks. Keeping the train moving here from the current starting quarterback to potentially the future. JJ McCarthy, could he be on his way to Seattle? According to a new report, JJ McCarthy was actually looked at by the Seahawks this past week at Michigan's Pro Day. Listen to this from Albert Breer. Ahead of his Friday Pro Day, Michigan QB J.J. McCarthy had lengthy meetings Thursday in Ann Arbor with 3 teams: the Patriots, Seahawks, and Commanders. Seattle coach Mike Macdonald was with McCarthy at Michigan in 2021. McCarthy's been excellent in that setting, meeting with teams. And we've already seen that the Seahawks have talked with several Michigan players that I would be surprised if the Seahawks don't bring in some Wolverines that McCarthy is, or that Macdonald rather, is very familiar with from his season there spent in Ann Arbor. Now, when it comes to McCarthy, though, I would be surprised if the Seahawks do end up drafting him. This team has more important needs to address than a first-round quarterback when we talk offensive line, defensive line, a number of things, right, that are higher on the priority list at the moment. And then on top of that, just J.J. McCarthy there at 16 kind of seems unlikely. More on that later. Now, you look at J.J. McCarthy. The big question that's been out there, can he go out there and win you a game? Can he take over and be that elite quarterback? Because what he was asked to do at Michigan was be a glorified game manager of sorts, right? He won a national championship, but he was handing the ball off a lot. And there wasn't a ton of moments where he was asked to carry a team on his shoulders. But even then, with that said, the more you look into J.J. McCarthy, you see, wait, this guy has all the talent, all the intangibles. He's very young, but with as good as their run game was at Michigan, he didn't need to do that. So that's what teams like the Seahawks and others have to figure out with J.J. McCarthy. Is he that game manager he was at Michigan, or does he have that untapped potential to be a franchise quarterback in the National Football League? Now, more on McCarthy in just a second. We'll talk about his stock and go over some numbers and what Mel Kiper and others are saying. But I want to hear from you guys. Should the Seahawks draft J.J. McCarthy? Why for yes and for no? Why in the comment section tell us what you think. We are talking about the Seattle Seahawks each and every day on Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports, as we bring you the best news and rumors coverage that you won't find anywhere else. We're talking draft, we're talking free agency, trades, and more. Your offseason headquarters is right here on Seattle Seahawks Today. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/Seahawks TV, and never miss a moment. Any breaking news happens, we're going to be on top of it right here on the channel. Subscribe now, you'll be glad you did. Now, the part that makes it difficult for Seattle to potentially draft J.J. McCarthy is his stock is just soaring. You look at where it was a couple of months ago to where it is now. McCarthy was looking at being a borderline first-round pick at one point. Now there's discussion of him potentially even going in the top 5 or at least top 10. If the Seahawks are going to get J.J. McCarthy, 16 doesn't really seem possible. It would require them to trade up, and they've already given up their second-round pick. They've already given up a third-round pick. It would be very difficult for Seattle to potentially trade up here. Now, here's what Mel Kiper said recently about JJ McCarthy, the evaluation on him. He said the following: McCarthy has first-round arm talent and can beat defenses with his legs, too. He has managed games effectively and made great decisions with the football. I recently projected McCarthy in the middle of round one in my debut mock draft. Sure, he averaged just 22.1 pass attempts per game in 2023 and only needed to complete 10 passes in the national title game, but his upside is immense. The numbers on McCarthy, very accurate. No one's questioning that at all. 72% completion percentage. He's a good athlete, too. He's a better runner than what his numbers show. 202 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, 22 passing touchdowns, just under 3,000 yards, and just 4 interceptions. And think about this. This meeting that took place there in Ann Arbor was not the first time the Seahawks have talked to JJ McCarthy. It was at least the second time of what we know of publicly. Now, who knows what's gone on behind the scenes, but that's at least twice now, in a lengthy discussions what Albert Breer reported. So that tells me the Seahawks are clearly very interested in J.J. McCarthy. I just don't personally see him falling to the Seahawks at 16 or the Seahawks having the assets to potentially trade up. You got a team like Minnesota, for example, who is going to draft a quarterback, and they got 2 first-round picks where they could move up. So if you are interested in trading up for McCarthy, get in line. There's other teams that have more assets potentially to make that move to get a guy like JJ. Now, what about drafting a quarterback? You did just bring in Sam Howell. You're picking at 16. You might have to trade up if you get the quarterback you really want. It sounds difficult. This might have to kick the can down the road to next year if you're Seattle here. What do you guys think? Should the Seahawks draft a quarterback this year? Type D for draft or P for pass. Let us know what you think. If you enjoyed today's show, like the video, stick it to those nasty Niner fans, and we'll see you next time here on Seattle Seahawks.